Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play the Journeyman Project 2, Buried in Time. Alright, let's check out this second temple now. Again, Arthur will not say anything just yet, so let's translate this one. Those who wish to gain counsel with Talak must cross the waters of disbelief on the stepping stones of faith. Alright, well, we're talking about waters and all that. The god of water. So, you can probably guess, we need to use this water canister. And we'll just pour one out for our homies. And that grants us access. Let's turn back to Arthur. Well, you can see that there's some kind of bridge here. There is another ledge over there, but it's a little far away.
Hey, who's the architect who built this bridge? This place is like the Winchester Mystery Pyramid.
I would be very nervous walking across this. Well, it gets us close, but no cigar. Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So, let's try going back. You guys hear that? I think we activated something.
Ah, very clever, Glasshopper.
I hated doing this as a kid, but now, it's not that bad. The timing of it is pretty lenient, but if you goof up, yeah, that's us right there. Agent 5's death registered at 12:05 p.m. Cause of death. In attempting to prove his worth to the Mayan rain god, Agent 5 fell 30 meters from a bridge of swinging platforms into the raging waterfall below, inadvertently appeasing the god of death. The next of kin have been notified. Like I said, it's really not that bad to do the timing, but still, if in a game, in real life, I'd still be just as nervous, especially at the end part of it here, because check out what this bridge does. So we know that this bridge
very clever,
is swinging like this, but look at how it starts to swing more towards the end.
This is a pretty elaborate contraption. The Maya were amazingly advanced, but I never would have imagined this level of mechanical engineering. From the sound of it, there's a water wheel down below that's driving this whole mechanism. That tells me that there must have been a particular season for these priesthood initiation trials. Part of the reason the rain god was so important to the Maya was that the Yucatan was susceptible to drought. If we'd arrived a few months later, there would have been little more than a trickle to drive these platforms.
We made it. I do appreciate that they assumed you would have the comment for Arthur going while you're doing that, so he's yelling like he's actually there on there with you, and like you're mid-swinging, as opposed to just standing on the ledge there.
He's pretty. That would be Tlaloc, the rain god.
Oh, that was the one I couldn't pronounce earlier. Right. Let's see. Translate. The rain god, Tlaloc. Nothing else. I always think that there's more to comment on or whatever in here, but nope. We just get another thing. We get the limestone block. Now, technically, if you wanted to avoid having to go across this bridge now backwards, you could recall with your jumpsuit and just go back to the entrance and quickly fall back down in here and then catch back up to where you were outside. It probably is technically faster. I'm not going to bother doing that here. In fact, I'm not going to save because I'm that confident that I can cross these. And just like that, they stop moving. I believe if you walk across again and come back, they'll reactivate. And at least coming back, it starts off harder and then gets easier. But nonetheless, as a kid, that part always made me nervous. And I never thought to do the whole, like, recall back or, jump back to the beginning of this and just work your way back through the entrance to circumvent that. Alright, so we've done these 2 temples now. Go ahead and walk up a little more. Now we've got... Let's go to this temple. I'm going to go ahead and make another temp save. Just because we are past that now.
Hey, nice door. Didn't I see Bob Vila make one of these on this old pyramid?
Oh, you, Arthur. Still nothing else from him besides that. Translate. Those who will represent the god of wealth must turn their backs to worldly possessions and lower their heads in humility. Well, god of wealth, eh? 3 guesses on what we need to use for the god of wealth. Now, technically, like the water bottle, the canister of water, we still actually have the gold coins. I guess we took a handful of them. You never actually technically run out. The arrow was the only one. That was a one-time use. Now, it's the god of wealth, so...
Ooh, rope bridge. Very dangerous. You go first.
Sorry, Arthur, you're coming with me.
Isn't rope bridge an oxymoron?
You know what? Now that you mention it... Alright, well, let's go ahead and cross. I'm sure we'll be fine. Huh. I, either didn't realize or had forgotten that there was a little animation for that, water over there.
Man, this place looks like something Wayne Newton would wear around his neck.
Now, this is the god of wealth, and, it looks like a cave made of gold? But I don't know. Might be too good to be true. That's because it probably is. Yeah. There's no way out of this room. Hence the skeletons. Now, as far as I know, there's no death actually associated with this. I don't think you can wait here long enough for it to matter. Because unlike the first game where you have, like, the meter draining, there's nothing like that here. We don't have oxygen depleting. So you're literally just trapped in here. You have to recall and come back in fresh. Or in this case, just load the save that we made because we knew it was a trap. But remember what the entrance of the thing said. They must turn their backs on wealth, cross a scary rope bridge. I didn't read that part out, but that was in very, very small text written on that. You just didn't see it, but trust me, it was there. Turn your back on wealth and, like, hang your head in humility. Hang it and turn a little bit to the left. And if you actually do that, you'll notice that, unlike this side, which has only the one rung, there's a second rung here. So if you hang your head and see this, it might give you the idea to tie a rope to it. Think of it like the Indiana Jones, where you got to choose the right grail to find the Holy Grail. You just don't want to choose holy. So we turned our backs, we hung our heads. We come down here, in what appears to be like a jade cavern. No commentary, Arthur? Oh, I didn't mean to go to you. Translate. The wealth god, I can't pronounce that name. I know Arthur probably pronounced it already himself, but I just can't. So, let's go ahead and take this jade block. And now, we have 3 blocks. And a lot of times when it comes to puzzles, they often come in 3s.
Hey, wow, nice work. Do you have any idea how difficult it is to carve stone? And all these guys had to work with were primitive stone tools and a spirograph.
Well, color me impressed. Alright, now, let's go ahead and head back. Climbing up the rope, or climbing down the rope, would have been easy enough. Climbing up here, like this, in the heavy-ass suit we're in, man, that would not be easy. Even if you had proper form. And I imagine you can't, like, move around as much as you'd like in that suit. So you gotta suspend your disbelief a little bit there to really think that, like, yeah, Gage will be able to pull himself up that, I'm sure. Right, well, now there's only one path left to go, and it's this way. Temporal anachronism detected within immediate vicinity. Use evidence chip to locate. First things first. Arthur got anything to say? No? Alright, let's translate this. The final trial is the first sacrifice. Well, let's, oh, look at this. There's a different mouth here, but there's something on the ground. We take our evidence. Somehow we know that that's not natural and shouldn't be there. Don't ask me how, we just know. So, if you look closely, rather than one of those other contraptions that the first 3 temples had, this one has something that looks like a pyramid shape, which clearly is for these. Now, you can just kind of place it anywhere. It'll go in the right space. You don't have to be perfect. You can just slot it in wherever. And it opens the way. Go ahead and turn Arthur back on. Another bridge that makes me nervous.
The top of this bridge seems to be a sharpened obsidian blade. Talk about walking gingerly. If one leg slipped off, you'd be beside yourself. I said, beside yourself. Forget it.
Oh, Arthur, you. Arthur, you card, you. Hey, look, a spike pit. We're familiar with those.
I would imagine that when a supplicant reached this room, there would be a sacrifice victim tied to the altar, and the priest would all be arranged in a circle around the perimeter of the chamber. The only exit from these caverns seems to be through that passage on the other side. So if you pass the trial, they would pivot the bridge around to let you across. If not, well, I guess you're on your own, buddy. That explains some of the skeletons we found, trying to find their way out.
Unfortunately for them, they didn't make it.
My. Snakes, snakes, and more snakes. These guys were really obsessed. Hate to be the guy who had to carve all those. He must have been sick of them by the end.
Sick of the snakes. Anything else? Ooh. Stalactites. Well, nothing else is really jumping out at us, except for right here. For some reason it can detect that. We cannot read that far. But let's go ahead and look for something. And it's right here. Evidence registered. We will review the evidence in a moment. So, we had to have basically piece together some of the things from earlier. Well, at the entrance here, it said sacrifice. Now, sure, we could just go by process of elimination of items that we have had, haven't had, not used. But if we had to make a sacrifice, and you see that there is, like, supposedly some blood-like substance here, it is reasonable to guess that we need to make a sacrifice of a human, or at least in this case, the heart of a human. Now, it does still say that the temporal anachronism is still detected within immediate vicinity. We still have to locate it. If we try to locate it on this, insufficient evidence. Cause of temporal anachronism must be revealed before evidence can be registered. So it's definitely something with this, but we can't have it just the way it is. Now, this item should be familiar, so let's go ahead and make a save. And let's go ahead and look at it closer. Well, Arthur, you got anything to say about it? Nope, not besides a hint thing. Now, it's got a bunch of symbols again, which clearly we can use the translate biochip. But what if we just try to open it? One of my favorite deaths in this game, because of just the imagery that it paints, the whole concept of it, and just the from Agent 5. It's like, ouch. Yeah, Agent 5's death registered at 12:51 p.m. Cause of death. In the caverns below Chichen Itza, Agent 5 discovered an ornate Mayan puzzle box. Thinking that he knew the combination, he tried to open it. The sting of the poison needle piercing his hand told him he was wrong. The next of kin have been notified. So clearly we didn't have the right solution, so let's go back now. Alright, so back at this now, if we look at it, once we click into it, I don't think we can back out. You must solve this. So, even if we use the translate biochip, it does at least let us see what the symbols are, but you have to know what to put this to. The question is, what do we put it to? Now, as a kid, I did not realize how you were supposed to know this, but as far as I can tell, probably the biggest key is at the very start of this time zone. At the top, before we drop down into here, there were some writings that when you translate it, it mentioned something about Itzamna. So if you actually rotate through, it's Itzamna. What it mentioned was you have from, exalted, a, consecrated, for, underworld, holy, the, altar, supplicants, breath, lords, god, realms, vessel, trials, altar, supplicants, the breath, gives, from, comes, named, contains, brings, of, honor, gives, the breath of, underworld, death, Chichen Itza, night, ordainment, Mictlan, war, Itzamna. At the top, it mentioned the breath of Itzamna. As far as I know, that's how you're supposed to be able to know. At least that's what makes sense to me. If there is another piece along the way that I kind of just like glossed over and didn't realize, that's just my fault then. But I only recall this phrase being used at the top of the temple. So you kind of would have to have remembered it, I guess. But with this...
Hey, that's an Environ cartridge, isn't it? And it's loose. It hasn't been incorporated into the artifact like in the other time zones. You should take it. Maybe it'll provide us with some information. Oh, sorry. This one's on the house.
Thanks. So now we'll take this. It is an Environ cartridge. This is an unlabeled Environ cartridge. It will play in any high-res Environ system. Definitely suspicious, considering that's our technology. And it did do the evidence for us. But now, let's go ahead and review what we found here. So, what we found was replicated glass fragments inconsistent with technology level of this time period. Traces of synthetic blood inconsistent with technology level of this time period. And, of course, electronic device inconsistent with technology level of this time period. So, this one's kind of critical, though, because not only did we get evidence, we actually got a physical piece to take with us. So far, we found all the different things, but we didn't take anything, because obviously that would mess up history. But, in this case, we have an Environ cartridge, which clearly doesn't belong in there, and we can take it. And we do have a system that we can use to look at it back at our place. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and jump back. Recall. Alright, so there's one other thing we need to do before we actually look at this. And I told you that I would not forget about it. Since we're going to the Environ reader thing anyways, now's a good time to grab that single, don't you think? So we'll go over to the replicator here. Grab that single. And we got that. Now, real quick, I do want to check. I realized when I did this earlier, I didn't look up. Okay, you can actually look up and see the microwave, assuming that's what it is, better from here. I did it from the bottom angle. I just wanted to make sure that, like, Arthur didn't have something he could comment about that there. Anyways. So, now we have our cartridge. Real quick, let's go ahead and make a save. But first, what does he have to say about this?
Yes, it's lava lamp 2328.
Lava lamp? Is this like a lava lamp to you, Arthur? I didn't realize that he ever had a comment right here. Okay, let's go ahead and make a quick save. Now, hold on to your butts because we're about to get some juicy information here. Having said that, though, let's go ahead and assess what we know. Because this is, I want to do this before we get to this here. If you haven't realized, based off of all of the news things we looked at earlier, the time zones we've gone to, the objects that had the things changed about them, it all connects together back to some of the stories we had from before. These are our time zones. These 4 items, the green sphere, the sword, the Codex Atlanticus, and the box, those were all items that were at the auction sale. Somebody paid way more credits than they needed to purchase those items. That can't just be a coincidence. Forget the fact that the game only lets us, look at so much, and these key items were pointed out to us. Just that alone, there's no way that that's a coincidence. Something's going on with that. But we still don't have the final piece as to what that is. But this Environ cartridge might be the answer we're looking for. But before we do, let's go ahead and enjoy Gino Andrews' free single from his upcoming album.
I'm at it right now. I'm at rehearsal. You know the routine. Name, number. I'll get back to you. Thanks.
Hi, it's me. I know it's been a while, but I found some things that belong to you. If you like, you can stop by and pick them up sometime. I'll be home this evening. It's just some records and tapes and some pictures, but, I thought you might like to have them. Okay, maybe I'll see you next week.
searching for a reason to go on.
And it cuts a little early, I feel like. But still, I think that's kind of fun that they have that there. Having said that, how do I get out of this? There we go. Okay. Alright, we've hemmed and hawed enough. We've dragged this out. Let's go ahead and put in this environment cartridge and see what it will reveal. But before we do, I'm going to adjust the sound.
Okay. This cartridge is the final piece you'll need to build a time machine. You should also have the Da Vinci Codex, which contains various formulae, the sculpture which morphs into a schematic diagram, and the medieval sword which holds the energy focusing element. This cartridge contains all existing notes, plans, and diagrams on the construction of the neutrino matrix accelerator, the time machine's power source. You'll be able to recreate the accelerator from these notes. By using the formulae, schematics, and focusing element to control the accelerator and harness its power, you'll be able to turn it into a functioning time machine. The information on this cartridge has been arranged in chronological order, starting with the building of the accelerator's framework, and following the process of its construction through to the final product. Good luck. And may
Sorry to interrupt, Gage, but I need that back.
Good, you're awake. Don't bother trying to move, your suit's disabled. I've got you hooked up to the jumpsuit maintenance frame. Well, it took me a while, but I finally figured out how you did it. I remembered that Agent 8 told me that when you broke house arrest, he found you back in your old apartment, without your suit. So that was the Gage that I know. And he jumped back into the past to enlist your help, right? Because he knew that he was being watched. You certainly are resourceful, aren't you? I didn't even know that that was possible. Just when I thought I had you under my control, you go and pull something like this on me. While you were unconscious, I looked at your evidence biochip. That's some pretty incriminating stuff. Looks like I've got no choice. I'm gonna have to erase it and, mind wipe you. Well, at least you won't remember how painful it was. In fact, when you wake up back in your apartment in the year 2319, you won't remember that any of this ever happened. Or, will happen, I guess. Well, first, I've got to send back the Environ cart that you stole from me. Well, despite your best efforts, humans are no longer the only beings capable of time travel. It's for the better, Gage, believe me. We just can't be trusted with such a powerful tool. Human nature would eventually drive us to use it for the wrong reasons. And if we're not the only ones with the technology, maybe we won't be as tempted to misuse it. My contact promised me that it would be given to every race of the symbiotree that wants it.
Uh-oh, Gage, this doesn't look good. The jump controls are locked out and she's got you completely immobilized. While you were taking a commercial break, she hooked us up to this thing. She's been downloading stuff from your biochips ever since. She hasn't discovered me yet, but I'm afraid it's just a matter of time. I keep trying to sneak a peek down the data stream, but I'm afraid I'm gonna stand out like a rat in a garden hose. Hey, that was pretty good. Anyway, I'll keep trying.
You probably think that I'm ill, that I'm insane. I really can't blame you. I mean, No one from our generation has ever seen how aggressive we can really be. Or the generation before us, for that matter. Or the ones before that. But every single one of my historical research missions involved studying war. I've been to the Nazi death camps and Hiroshima. I've seen the terrorist massacres. I've lived it. I know. You can't possibly imagine the horror of seeing a bustling city of thousands vaporized by a nuclear firestorm, or a crowd of people shredded into bloody ribbons by a single shrapnel as you watch, helpless. But that's what happens when we feel the need to bare our teeth. It's human nature, and it's not something that just a couple of 100 years can erase. Look around you. Do you know what this place is? It's a missile silo. Well, a few centuries ago, there were tens of thousands of these, and each one contained a nuclear missile powerful enough to obliterate an entire sector. That's enough to destroy the world 50 times over. Yet just 3 centuries later, even before the physical reminders are gone, we're claiming that we've matured into a peaceful race of beings. How can we be that naive?
That's it. She just hooked up the pipeline I needed. I'm gonna swim up and see if I can stop her.
You probably figured out that I was the one that rigged the security grid. I had to be able to get the things I needed from the Pegasus warehouse without being seen. But when you started asking around about the mistake in the grid, well, I mean the future you, that is, I had to change my plans. So, instead of just sending the information to my contact, I came up with the idea of hiding it in historical artifacts. Artifacts from your research dates that were also slated for sale at the Louvre art auction. That way, all I had to do was tell my contact which items to buy, and the transaction was nearly impossible to trace. And if anyone started digging around because of what they saw, well, they'd discover the ripples and come straight back to you. I even found some valuable trinkets to plant in your locker if that happened. Just that one simple move would give you a motive and the court a scapegoat. But, I didn't want to have to do it. I never thought for a second that someone might accidentally discover the ripples. I mean, how often do we do manual scans? Someone must have been bored out of their minds that day. I'm sorry, Gage. I really am. If I could be the one that was arrested, if I could take responsibility for my actions, I would in a second, believe me. I had no choice. I don't want to do this to you, but if I don't, it will all have been for nothing. If they find out how the technology was spread, they'll be able to keep it from ever happening. That's the problem with time travel. Nothing's ever safe. That's why I had to do it. I had to even the playing field, even a little. I'm sorry if I'm making you an unwilling martyr to my cause, but that's just the way it's got to be. Please understand. Why am I even bothering with this? You're not going to remember any of this anyway.
Gage, I'm there. It's all hooked up, everything. It's all controlled through the neural link into her suit. I can create a virus and shut the whole thing down. We just need to get into... Oh, no. There's a password, Gage. I need a password. What do you know about Michelle? I'm setting up an interface link for you. I need a password or we've both got instant Alzheimer's. See what you can dig up. Hurry!
Hello, Michelle. Password. Now, real quick, I'm going to go ahead and make a save. I'm going to go ahead and let this roll, though. We will get some extra dialogue and stuff from Arthur if I just let it roll.
Gage, we're running out of options here. I need that password now.
They do give you quite a bit of time. Now, the way you would have to solve this password, though, is Arthur basically said it. What do you know about Michelle? Well, the only things we know are what we've seen and what we have on hand, which is the file's biochip. So the idea is you're supposed to look
Think of something, anything. Pets, hobbies, power tools, types of cheeses, something personal.
As Arthur said, something personal. So we can look in the files, look at her profile, and maybe we can pick up something from there. That's the idea to solve this puzzle, because otherwise you have nothing else to go on. Also, clearly, it was Michelle.
She's past the last safety lockout gauge. If you don't get me in there now, our minds might not be the only things erased. History could be in for a serious rewrite. We're the only ones, Gage. We've got to do it. Now.
You gotta do it, Gage. Now. Sorry, Arthur. We have to show off the death screen. So, get ready to get wiped.
That's it. Get ready to have your memory erased. This is gonna hurt you more than it hurts me.
Cue Gage just screaming, "Ah!" I do like this visual here, though. Although it looks like we're just out in space, and it's just like, whoa, the cosmos, it's seeping into my brain. Agent 5 mind wiped at 11:19 a.m. Cause of death. Having interrupted Agent 3's scheme by taking the most integral piece of the time machine plans, Agent 5 unintentionally drew her directly to him. He was captured by Agent 3, who then completed her mission and erased his memory to prevent further interference. Oh. They did not notify the future of Kim because this is, again, technically not a death. She would just mind wipe us and sent us back home, so we know nothing at that point. This one and the God one was like the only one that aren't technically deaths. Thus, it doesn't notify the next of kin. Now, obviously, Michelle basically explained the whole thing there, but I think it's pretty clever. It's like, okay, you go to these time zones, you stash the things in them, they cause these ripples, but not enough to cause full reality distortion waves. You have your client then buy the things at the auction. Like she said, it's basically untraceable, and they would never know how the technology got out there. So I don't think there was anything left of the plot points to explain. I think she covered it all. I'm trying to think if there was any bit that she left out. And like I said, in the news articles and whatnot, you could have noticed that, as you were playing and solving the different time zones, it was all connecting to those items that were shown in the different articles and for the actual auction. Having said that, you still wouldn't have necessarily known what they were for. You just would have made that piece of connection. You really do need the Environ cartridge to piece it all together. But anyways, let's go back now and go ahead and give the correct password. Okay, so back here, if we go to the files, also, having watched the Environ cartridge and getting this whole cutscene and everything, that got us to research 13 points. So, if we go to the agent dossier, go to the research unit, look at Michelle, look at her profile, do we see anything repeatedly appearing? Black belt, first place, grab ball competition, graduated magna cum laude from Columbia University, PhD, pre-unification history, BA in social psychology, hired into the Temple Protectorate, transferred to G-Time unit, interest, grav ball, symbiotry affairs, existentialist literature. There are only two things that appear really kind of twice in here. Black belt, I guess that could be black belt, and grav ball. Let's try black belt.
Gage, we're running out of options here. I need that password now.
No, and I don't know if we can do more than, no, it's all one word. Black blet. So, the only thing we can try is grav ball. And remember, she did mention that grav ball match that we had that we lost, so we lost a bet to her. So that's 3 instances of grav ball from her. Maybe that's the password.
Think of something, anything. Pets, hobbies, power tools, types of cheeses, something personal. Ha! That's it! We're in! Only, there's one thing I didn't tell you, Gage. You're gonna have to do the rest without me. I'm the virus. Thanks for the adventure. I'll see you on the other side.
What's going on? What did you do? What did you do?
And just like that, Arthur is gone. The first time playing this game, I got some chills, and it made me sad. This AI buddy that we find, presumably early enough at the beginning of the game, who's helped us throughout this whole journey. We make it here, we're trapped, we're toast, it's like we're goners. He's able to get in there, but he has to sacrifice himself. And the way he just delivers the line, it's like, on the virus, and it's like, I'll see you on the other side. It's like, dude, it made me so sad. And it's like, it's blank now, and we can't even go back to, because you can see our biochip for jumping is gone. We cannot jump out of here. We couldn't even go back and like get him again, but it wouldn't matter because it wouldn't be the same Arthur. Not the same Arthur that went on this journey with us and helped us and who sacrificed himself to save our lives. It's just so sad, but it makes for such a good story point, and that's it. Arthur's gone, so no more comments from him because he's not coming back. We don't know what happened to Michelle. Something freaky happened. It looked like she did a time jump of some sort, but it was not the usual colored sparks, so and it was making some really funky sounds. So as far as we know, she's gone and or possibly dead. But as for us, we're left here alone, and presumably the power got knocked out, which is why it looks all red in here, and we have no more companion. So on that somber note, we'll call that the end of this part. And we are nearing the end of the game. I think at this point left, I think I'm just going to have one more part left, because there's not too much left to the game. So with or without Arthur, we have to do one more thing, because while we technically have solved the mystery of what happened and stopped Michelle, there's the whole aspect of she was sending this to somebody, which means one of the alien races was working with her. We have to figure out who, and we have to stop them because they still have all the components now. If we don't, they'll be able to mess with history just like it was before. So anyways, that is it for this part, guys. In the next video, we will go ahead and see the conclusion to Buried in Time. I'll see you guys then.
That's it. Get ready to have your memory erased. This is gonna hurt you more than it hurts me.